Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at Noon.
Next at noon, Illinois Senator Dick Durbin is back from his trip to Denmark. We're learning more about what happened while he was there.
We're also learning more about the latest National Crime Trends report. I'll tell you what it found for Chicago.
Taking a live look outside, it is a cold one. Caitlin will be joining us shortly with a look at what we can expect for today and the rest of the week. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sylvia Perez.
And I'm Natalie Bomke, and we're starting with some breaking news.
Breaking news for you. CPS is reporting that it is closing schools tomorrow ahead of what is expected to be below zero temperatures. There will be no e-learning, and the district is canceling all extracurricular activities and events.
That is huge. Some other schools already calling off classes ahead of the cold as well. So again, we've got CPS. Then we've got some private schools, including St. Thomas the Apostle. In Orland Park, District 230 is switching to an e-learning day, along with District 62 and Des Plaines. Schools in Gary, Indiana, switching to e-learning as well. You can see more closures at the bottom of your screen, and we're going to continue to update these throughout the day. So please go to our website, fox32chicago.com, for the most up-to-date information on school closures.
And this is the perfect time to head over to Caitlin. Caitlin, what can you tell us about what we can expect? This sounds like it's going to be rough.
Dangerously cold tonight into tomorrow, absolutely. Today, even, it is cold, and we do have partly cloudy skies, turning over to mostly cloudy conditions later on this afternoon. And then this evening, we have the chance for some light snow around. But main headline is going to be the chill. So let's talk about what we're dealing with right now, your lunchtime hour. Temperatures are ranging from the teens to the 20s. It's 23 degrees at the lakefront, 21 at O'Hare, and 17 from Waukegan to 27 in Gary. So it's chilly. Temperatures flirting with 30 in the very southernmost part of Chicagoland, but it's gusty out there too. Right now we're seeing winds gusting to 36 miles per hour in Aurora, 34 in Morris, 32 in Kankakee. So 30 to almost 40 mile per hour wind gusts are leading us to have single-digit wind chills for most. It feels like 8 at the lakefront, as well as O'Hare and Midway, 1 in Waukegan. Tonight, that's when temperatures are going to feel like we could be 30 to 35 degrees below zero with that wind chill, and that is why we're seeing these school districts respond in the way that they are. So if you are going to be out and about, especially tonight and early tomorrow, make sure that you take precaution and limit your exposure if you can. We'll take a look at your full forecast, including some snow on the way this weekend coming up.
And as Caitlin said, we obviously want you to be aware of and want to warn you about how cold it's going to get.
Roseanne has more on how people are getting ready for some dangerously cold temperatures.
Well, it is a beautiful sight, snow-covered trees and snow-covered roofs, but there's also been snow on the ground here in Gurnee for days now, and people say it's been keeping them very busy. The plows were out early clearing the roads of about 2 inches of snow on Grand Avenue. On Acorn Court, people were shoveling in the dark, clearing driveways and sidewalks just to make sure they got the job done in time. And also to make sure that those delivery drivers from, say, Amazon or groceries can make their way to the door. The Chicago area has had snow 9 days in a row. Next up comes the extreme cold. Danielle Adams may have the perfect recipe for dealing with this winter blast.
Lots of hot cocoa and cozying up with our blankets, sitting by the fire.
You've been doing a lot of shoveling this year.
Yes, and I'm tired of it.
I bet.
But, you know, it's got to be done.
And you were telling me you have just make sure you're bundled up and you have on your layers?
Yes, I do. I have 2 pairs of gloves. I have a jacket plus a sweatshirt with a hoodie, so it does help.
We talked to one woman who says her children will be e-learning tomorrow, and she's going to follow their lead and work from home. A very wise choice. If you can avoid going outside tomorrow, you absolutely should try to do that. In Gurnee, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
Thank you, Roseanne. Cook County Courthouse warming centers are now open to help people escape these below zero temperatures that we're expected to see. Warming centers in the northwest and south suburbs will run continuously until 4:30 in the afternoon on Monday. Center locations include the Skokie Courthouse, the Maywood Courthouse, and the Markham Courthouse. Municipalities throughout Cook County are also operating warming centers, and you can find a full list of locations on our website, fox32chicago.com.
Commuter trains around here also making changes due to the cold, and we know a lot of people might be using that public transportation transportation to get downtown tomorrow, so listen to this. Metro will operate a reduced schedule tomorrow. There could be some trouble on the tracks when temperatures get as cold as we expect. You can see video here of them warming up those switches so they don't get frozen. Metro also expecting people to stay home, meaning less commuters. The South Shore Line also operating on a reduced schedule starting tomorrow. President Trump is pulling back on tariff threats against European countries over Greenland.
But the plan still has Scandinavian countries like Denmark rattled. Saquon talked with Senator Durbin, who just returned from a visit there. And what did he have to say?
Well, hey, good morning, guys. Good afternoon, I should say. As you kind of mentioned there, Senator Durbin really talked about his visit to Copenhagen just last week, where his delegation met with a lot of the leaders in Denmark and Greenland, of course, over this entire deal. First, though, before we get into what Senator Durbin had to say, I do want to get to the latest developments when it comes to this Greenland deal. We know that this has been a big conversation right now, with the president seeming very confident about this deal. In fact, we're also learning that he actually will no longer be imposing those tariffs that were set to take effect February 1st. We know that is a part of the deal. That is what the president has been saying. As part of that deal, he will no longer be imposing those tariffs. However, I should note, too, that the exact details of this entire deal still very much unclear. All we know so far at this point is that he talked about that framework for a future deal. So we'll have to wait for those exact details. Back to Senator Durbin, though, he really did just talk about the NATO alliance and how important that is, how the U.S. should really back up NATO allies the way they have for us. And he really emphasized that, not only to protect its members, but also to bring peace to the world. Here's more of what he had to say.
Fellow Danish and Greenlandic legislators implored us to explain what was going on there. There was a sense of anger as well as pain to think that the United States might in fact invade Greenland or some other entity in an effort for President Trump to take control of that country. We assured them that the overwhelming majority of Americans oppose the Trump strategy on Greenland. That has been shown over and over again in areas politically loyal to the president and otherwise. That just didn't make sense to the American people, and it shouldn't.
Well, once again, you know, for the most part, Senator Durbin kind of talked about the long-standing ties between the U.S. and Denmark, really our NATO allies overall. And he's really emphasized, once again, the need to bring back that NATO alliance and its strength. And of course, you know, we know that he's going to be heading back to Washington to kind of work with his colleagues on finding that alliance again and that strength. He talked about how it's been a little shaken up, not broken, but shaken. Guys?
I know that you were talking about what was going on with Greenland, but obviously immigration is a huge issue here in Chicago, and I'm wondering if the senator actually addressed that at all.
Yeah, you know, he actually opened it up to some follow-up questions, and one of the questions was, do you support abolishing ICE? Okay, so this has been obviously a very big conversation. He wasn't quick to address that. He wasn't quick to kind of voice his support for that movement. However, he did say, you know, he really talked about the DHS secretary, we're talking Kristi Noem, of course, not showing up for these meetings, and he did say, in his words, that if she's not showing up, she should be replaced. He did talk about the aggressive tactics that are being used right now by these federal agents. He has mentioned what's been going on and what's been playing out here over in Minneapolis, and of course what we have seen here play out in Chicago. He definitely seemed very against what these federal agents are doing with these mass immigration operations right now, but he was not too quick to talk about the fact that he is in favor of abolishing ICE.
Okay, interesting. And then we have to ask as well, he's retiring from the Senate, so say, did he mention what comes next for him?
Well, really, he didn't talk about what's next for him in his career path, but he did talk about what his next plans are when he heads to Washington, D.C. Right now, first and foremost, the main priority right now for him and his delegation is strengthening that NATO alliance. As I've been saying, that is top of mind for this delegation right now, so we'll have to wait and see if we can get some more details on this framework or this, you know, future deal that the president has been talking about for weeks.
Saquon, thank you so much. And the new crime trends report shows, and this is interesting, a broad decline across major U.S. cities in 2025. including Chicago. 11 of 13 major offenses in this crime report fell last year here in Chicago, with violent crime seeing some of the sharpest declines. Homicides down 31% compared to 2024, while robberies dropped 23%. Property crime also decreased, including motor vehicle thefts, which fell 23%. Drug offenses were the only category that rose in 2025. The mother of a 12-year-old girl has filed a lawsuit accusing a Joliet police officer of unlawfully searching her during a traffic stop. That lawsuit says the incident happened in February of 2024. The girl was with her sister when they were stopped by the officer, who allegedly gave the 15-year-old a pat-down despite no safety threat. The lawsuit says the pat-down was inappropriate and caused emotional trauma, and alleges the officer later admitted the search was a mistake. The officer, the city of Joliet, and the Joliet Police Department have all been named.
More to come here on Fox 32 News at noon. A new study is giving insight on how slight lifestyle changes can actually increase your lifespan. We'll tell you what you can do to change and how much it's going to help.
President Trump says he's struck the ultimate long-term deal with Greenland, but Europe still has to sign off. I'm Lucas Tomlinson in New Greenland. I'll have the details coming up.
2-minute car wash.
President Trump says his Greenland agreement would give the U.S. sovereignty over small pockets of that country for military bases.
Lucas Tomlinson has more on why critics say the U.S. already has that privilege.
It's total access. There's no end. There's no time limit.
President Trump calls it the art of the deal. Critics say he bowed to international pressure as the U.S. backs off its threat to take Greenland by force. Instead, the president says there's a framework of a deal in place that would guarantee America's security interests, including more American bases for the Golden Dome missile defense shield.
Everything comes over Greenland. If the bad guys start shooting, it comes over Greenland. So we knock it down. It's pretty infallible.
Critics say that offer was already on the table. The president didn't need to threaten military force or new tariffs to get it. And the Danish government is denying it agreed to give the U.S. sovereignty over small pockets of Greenland for military use.
There has been no negotiation with NATO about our sovereignty. Of course there hasn't. That is a matter for us alone.
European leaders are meeting for emergency talks on the Greenland deal. Most are saying they welcome the president's change in tone, and they're ready to work with the White House to beef up Arctic security.
This is the right way to go. This is the right way because any threat to acquire European territory by force would be unacceptable.
But it's still not clear what the final deal will look like as negotiations get underway.
There's a lot of rhetoric involved here, certainly. A lot of leverage that's being applied here is dealing with a negotiating position.
NATO's Secretary General says he has not discussed the sovereignty issue with President Trump. In New Greenland, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox Chicago.
12:15 now, and we want to give you a live look in Chicago. It looks a lot like where Lucas was. Snow-covered, very cold. Fox 32 meteorologist Caitlin Cody joining us now for a closer look at the forecast.
The winter-like weather chugs on here in Chicago. It is cold outside right now. Of course, the headlines, though, talking about tonight and tomorrow as the coldest air settles in to our area. Right now, we're seeing the teens and 20s. A few of us are flirting with 30, and I do see 30 on the dot there in Kankakee, but my goodness, 23 at the lakefront, 21 at O'Hare, 17 in Waukegan, 18 at Woodstock. Again, temperatures right now, they're okay compared to what's to come, but I have to say, it's quite gusty outside, and that's making a huge difference with the wind chill. So you have to prepare for 1 single degree in Waukegan, dress for 8 degrees at O'Hare and Midway. You can see that temperatures as we get further south, a touch warmer, but still feel like temperature wind chill right now in Kankakee and LaSalle at 16. Tonight, that's when we really settle in with the cold, a low of about 8 degrees below zero. We're going to have that wind continuing out of the northwest at 15 to 30 miles per hour. And the feel-like temperature tonight into early tomorrow could drop down to 30 to 35 degrees below zero. So talking about our weather alerts, first, our extreme cold warning in dark blue here is from Chicago points west and south. This starts at 3 a.m. until noon tomorrow. After that point, we get joined by that cold weather advisory, which, by the way, Northwest Indiana, you have this advisory in place for tonight and early tomorrow, but then all of us are going to carry this advisory through until Saturday morning at 9 because the feel-like temperature tomorrow afternoon even is going to be around 20 degrees below zero. So talking about the wind chill, let's take you through the rest of our day today. 5 p.m., still feeling like we could be in the single digits for most. And then tonight we quickly drop down to below zero. This is at midnight, feeling like 15 degrees below zero. But watch as we head into early Friday, 6, 7 o'clock, and we hit our bottom where some of us could be around 35 to 37 degrees below zero for that wind chill. In Chicago, right around the upper 20s to low 30s below zero for that feel-like temperature. So it is going to be dangerously cold tonight, tomorrow, even on Saturday. We hardly climb out of the single digits as our actual temperature. And this weekend, we have the potential for some snow. I'll time that out for you and show you that 7-day forecast coming up.
Thank you, Caitlin. For National Mentor Month, experts are putting the spotlight on just how much of a difference those mentors can make.
In just a few minutes, we are learning how giving teens a sense of purpose can be the key to success.
Who here?
Everybody needs a mentor or a role model to help them succeed, right?
Absolutely.
And this National Mentoring Month, developmental experts are sharing how society can help the next generations.
Chris DeMeo is taking a closer look at how instilling a sense of purpose can be the key to raising successful teenagers.
With January marking National Mentoring Month, youth development experts say it's important for society to help teenagers grow into responsible adults. But professionals say there's a lot of misconceptions around adolescence.
One is that emphasis on this is a time for stress, problems. Dealing with teens in general, young people in general, is going to be problematic.
Instead, Dr. Ed Bowers of Clemson University says the teenage years are a time for young people to harness their strengths. One way of helping them find direction is empowering their voices.
If their voices aren't heard, they're less likely to be engaged in that setting, and then any of the benefits that may come from that setting, such as contributing to the vote, contributing to your classroom setting, contributing to an after-school program, are less likely to be realized.
Experts say many teenagers long for a sense of purpose. Giving young people chances to contribute to the world around them can create a trickle-down effect of positive engagement.
We want to make sure these kids are thriving because a thriving young person is then more likely to contribute to their communities. And when they're contributing to communities, they then become the more active and engaged citizens we want to see in our society, to kind of take on those leadership roles in a positive, healthy way that we wouldn't expect if we were kind of more focusing on their problems, their stresses.
Meanwhile, Dr. Bowers says having a sense of purpose is even linked to several health benefits,
such as having lower levels of stress. It's linked to positive psychological well-being. It's linked to better relationships with others.
Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
A new study shows a few small changes to your daily routine could add almost a decade to your life. The University of Sydney analyzed data from about 59,000 adults, measuring their sleep patterns, physical activity, and diet. The analysis estimated how changes in those behaviors can affect lifespan and health span. It found an extra 5 minutes of sleep per day, an extra 2 minutes of physical activity per day, and a slight improvement of diet correlated to 1 extra year of life. A combined improvement of 24 extra minutes of sleep per day. I'm going to give you all the outlines you need. 3.7 extra minutes of exercise.
Sure,
don't forget that 0.7.
Exactly.
And a 23-point increase of diet were associated with 4 additional years of life. So anyway, okay. This is what I say.
What do you say?
If you feel like what you're doing works, just keep doing that.
Thank you, Dr. Natalie. I agree with you, though. And doctors are setting the record straight on whether the flu shot can actually give you the flu. The answer, they say, is no. Some surveys have shown nearly 30% of people believe getting the flu shot can cause the flu. That's because afterwards people could experience side effects such as headache, fever, nausea, and muscle aches, which sound like the flu.
Yes.
One expert says no flu vaccine can cause the flu since most vaccines do not contain a live virus.
I will say, though, I am very honest with people.
Yeah.
I did get the flu vaccine this year, and I got the flu, and it was horrible.
Yeah,
so
I know. It's a hard one to figure.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, a new report from the American Heart Association says cardiovascular disease is still the leading cause of death in the U.S. It accounted for nearly 3 in 10 deaths back in 2023, outnumbering deaths from the second and third leading causes, cancer and accidental injuries combined. Deaths from heart disease and stroke are actually down compared to 2021 and 2022, but they still account for more than a quarter of all U.S. deaths.
It is 12:24. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Your go-to source.
The state of Illinois is investigating an ICE raid that happened at a South Shore apartment building last year, back in September.
The state is now looking into whether the landlords actually tipped off federal agents to possibly intimidate and remove black and brown tenants. We're talking more about this now with Jonah Karsh with Metropolitan Tenants Organization. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Jonah, it is not illegal for any citizen to submit a form to ICE saying, look, I feel like there's illegal activity going on here. So what in particular makes this landlord's actions potentially illegal?
Well, I don't want to speak too definitively as a non-attorney. I will say in Illinois, there is a law called the Immigrant Tenant Protection Act, which prohibits landlords from threatening to or actually contacting immigration enforcement in an effort to remove tenants from their building. So that is not allowed in the capacity as a landlord. But what was going on in this case, if in fact the investigation is able to uncover that, as we are fearing and suspecting the landlord and property manager were involved in calling for the raid, is that it is not a targeted immigration thing. As the video you're showing on the screen shows, this was a major military style operation in the middle of the night with helicopters landing on the roof and many residents, including non-immigrants, that were detained and affected. And it appears and we're concerned that potentially the landlord provided information to federal agents that told them about which units to target, both immigrants and non-immigrants that were in the building who, for whatever reason, the landlord didn't want to be there.
So interesting. So you say it is illegal in the state of Illinois for a landlord to do that. Now, if a landlord is found to have done that and cooperated with ICE to get these tenants removed, what kind of consequences could they face? What are they looking at as far as legal?
So again, I'm not an attorney. My understanding is that under the Immigrant Tenant Protection Act, there are damages that can be awarded if the tenant themselves sues. What this Illinois Department of Human Rights investigation is using an authority under the Illinois Human Rights Act itself, which is a different statute under which they could potentially, pending the result of their investigation, file a case in which they could collect damages on behalf of tenants and distribute it to them.
It was our
financial penalties.
Financial penalties. That's what I was going to ask you next. And it was our understanding in our follow-up reporting here at Fox Chicago that portions of that building, if not all of it, were unlivable after this raid because of the damage that was done there, and that these tenants had to find a different place to live after this incident. What are tenants telling you about how this raid affected them?
It was devastating. And even before the raid happened, the conditions in the building were deplorable. The city had taken the building to court. It was in foreclosure. There was an attempt to appoint a receiver, which is a temporary property manager, because the feeling was that the existing property manager was not doing well enough to maintain the building. When you start with that as the baseline, and then you have federal agents showing up in helicopters on your roof and pointing guns at you in the middle of the night, and then 2 months later, you're told by a judge that you have to move out on 2 weeks' notice, it was incredibly traumatizing. What I'm hearing from people is that they want to feel heard, that they want this not to be forgotten, and that they want those that were involved in making their lives in this building so miserable to be held to account.
Well, what advice might you have for tenants who feel like maybe their landlord is working with immigration?
Yeah, if you are concerned that your landlord is working with immigration enforcement, I would encourage you to contact a local fair housing agency. The Mexican American Legal Defense Fund is also a good organization which has successfully brought a charge and won a settlement with a landlord who violated the Immigrant Protection Act.
All right. Jonah, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and breaking this down for us. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay, we're talking about just how cold it is. I just got an alert from the Chicago Polar Bear Club that they are canceling the polar plunge this weekend, Caitlin, because it's just too cold.
Do you participate?
No.
I was going to say,
but
why are you
Natalie
getting an email?
You were in the text
right.
group. Yeah.
You did do it one year,
I
didn't
did,
you?
and I will never do it again. I will. It was for the Special Olympics, an organization that we all know and love here.
Yes.
Whatever else they need, I'm up for. I will not do that again.
But it's bad if they're canceling.
Yes,
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Pregnancy is a valid excuse. That stay out of the cold water. You know,
This
out of
year.
Michigan. It is. It is going to be brutally cold. It already is. Okay, it's cold outside right now. It's gusty, which is adding to that wind chill factor. But tonight and tomorrow, especially early. I'll take that back. Tomorrow all day is going to be so cold, dangerously cold. I'm talking about Friday afternoon even, feeling like we could be around 20 degrees below zero. But right now, the teens, the 20s, the 30s, we've got it. A little bit of everything. 31 from Kankakee, 23 degrees at the lakefront, 21 at O'Hare, 17 from Waukegan to Woodstock. Temperatures in northwest Indiana for you. You are seeing a good mix of the 20s. So it's chilly, but it's beautiful. It has been. We have partly cloudy skies, turning over to mostly cloudy as the day progresses. The wind speeds, as I mentioned, it is gusty. Right now we're seeing winds at 33 miles per hour at times in Gary, 31 mile per hour wind gusts reported in Midway, 36 miles per hour in Aurora. Yikes. Feel like temperature down to the single digits because of this. It feels like 8 at O'Hare and Midway, 1 in Waukegan, 1 at Woodstock. Back to the teens as we get a little further south. Chicago Heights, Gary, Kankakee in the teens for that feel like temperature. Here's your next 48 hours of the actual temperatures this afternoon. We are in the 20s as we head on into this evening, down to the teens, and then we drop into below zero numbers by 1 a.m. Heading into tomorrow, the coldest of the air is going to be here early tomorrow. So we're talking about around 7 a.m. commute time. That's when our actual temperature is going to be around 10 degrees below zero, and that's when it could feel like we're around 30 to 40 degrees below zero. Into the afternoon, though, even, we're staying below zero through most of the day with that wind chill staying around 20 degrees below zero. So here's your next 12 hours. Again, that wind chill dropping down below zero by 8 p.m. Heading into your Friday in the afternoon even, about 20 degrees below zero as that wind chill in the afternoon. And then this weekend, not only is it going to be cold, Saturday we hardly climb out of the single digits, but we have the chance for snow. So this is 4:45 tomorrow. Again, very cold Friday ahead, but at least it will be quiet outside of that. And here comes this big system. All eyes are going to be on the weather across the United States this weekend. But for us, we could get in on some of that snowfall with the heaviest snow expected late Saturday into Sunday. 7-day forecast, 15 on Sunday, 12 Monday, then back to the 20s for Tuesday and Wednesday. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Caitlin. The Lyric Opera of Chicago is getting ready to dazzle audiences with its production of, is it Salome?
Good question.
We'll
I am not cultured enough to know. Gabriella got to stop by for a special behind-the-scenes look for us.
You see the Lyric Opera, but have you ever been on stage or really seen behind the scenes? Well, Salome is going to be playing January 25th until February 14th. We're giving you that sneak peek, that look at some of the costumes, the props, and also talking to the revival director, Julia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, hi.
Let's talk about Salome. You know, it's a very well-known production. It's very old, too. So I'm curious, how is it portrayed now here in the 21st century, and what is it about?
Well, first of all, the title character is called Salome. She's a princess, and where we stand is her house, her palace, where her parents live. And Herod, who's the man of the house, is a very successful, very powerful, but very disturbed and very paranoid man. And he runs a house of fear, where, you know, every day somebody might be killed, and that's quite normal. But meanwhile, there are wonderful dinner parties. So the show takes place in an, the British would say upstairs, downstairs world. So it starts with a fantastic dinner party happening upstairs with lots of invited guests and different groups. But downstairs you see the staff, and some of them have been abused and some of them are working. They're very, very fearful.
It's interesting. It's very complicated, it seems. And so that's what makes me think, how is it even possible that you're able to put a production with this many stage changes, with this much action going on? We brought one of the props here. This is an iconic one, the silver platter that holds a severed head.
Yes, yes. And you can, it's sort of this size.
Imagine it.
And it's quite heavy. And
we couldn't hire the actor for this
and then blood comes
shot.
out. We've been having lots of rehearsals with the blood. The blood's quite sticky.
But
and all of
everything
this.
is thought out.
No, you see, this is the beauty of directing in live theatre. We don't want the audience to know how much work goes into this, but everything is very meticulously thought out. The moves, the thoughts, how a hand touches a severed head, how a hand might reach out for a caress of a cheek, how quickly that happens, how slowly that happens. We discuss all of this together, and that's what rehearsal is.
This production is extra exciting. It's going to be in Chicago. This is the United States premiere, right?
This is absolutely correct. Yes, it's his first time away from London, and yeah, this is the first time.
Wow. Okay. Well, again, Salome is going to be playing here at the Lyric Opera from January 25th until February 14th. So you have a little bit of time. You like it? Come again?
Sure, absolutely. Give it a chance. It's a, you know, sensational opera. It's been around for a very long time. It stood the test of time. Give it a chance.
Julia, I will be sitting right there. Okay, we'll have more information on our website, fox32chicago.com. You can get your tickets now.
Thank you, Gabby, and we will be right back. Welcome back to The Noon Show, and it is time to look at your business headlines with Kelly Saberi.
Investors around the world breathing a sigh of relief after President Trump reversed course and will not impose tariffs on 8 European countries. He cites a framework of a future deal on Greenland.
There is so much to like right now. And now we have deals, we have peace. It's a wonderful, wonderful time to deploy capital into great American companies.
Meanwhile, economic growth was stronger than forecasted in the third quarter, ending in September. The GDP rose to 4.4%, the fastest pace in 2 years. Also, the job market is holding up. New claims for unemployment benefits rose by just 1,000 for the week ending January 17th. Continuing claims, those remaining on benefits in the week ending January 10th, declined to 1.84 million. And millions of Gen Zers and millennials are kicking off the year by cutting out consumerism. Google searches for No Buy January have hit a 5-year high, with many young Americans taking up this self-imposed 31-day challenge when you only buy the essentials. NerdWallet says more than a quarter of Americans have tried a No Buy January. 2% of those surveyed say they're doing a financial reset this year. In Chicago, Kelly Saberi, Fox Business.
So you did dry January. Would you do a No Buy January?
I think that'd actually be more difficult. How about you?
I think it would
right?
be. Yes.
Yes. I mean, I can't even imagine.
Maybe next year.
Yes.
The list of Oscar nominations have been released for this year's awards ceremony.
In just a few minutes, Jake is going over some of the biggest names on the list. Welcome back, everybody. Local food critic Fox Pena, a.k.a. Foxito, got to spend 2025 visiting more than 70 pizza spots across the city for his Chicago pizza run. How about that?
And yes, I'm all here for it. He's joining us in studio to talk about it. But before we get into the pizza run, introduce kind of how you stumbled on this and you found food was your passion and people love to see you doing that.
Okay, so my name is Fox Pena, professionally known as Foxito. Food with Foxito across all platforms. How it came about is I moved to Chicago in like 2021. There was a couple of people doing it. I didn't think they were doing it at the level I'd like to see it. It wasn't really food critic, it was food influencing. You know, there's a big difference, right?
Yes.
An influencer is like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. Or my favorite line is, let me tell you, it did not disappoint. So you still hear that, right? So I was tired of that because I'm a real food guy. So I said, let me try it. I had a video go viral. I did a review on Michael Jordan's Steakhouse. Now, I add comedy to my reviews.
Give me a little example of what you did.
I basically, though, is kind of R-rated plus.
Oh.
But yeah, I basically, it wasn't a great experience. Right? So I put it out, but it went viral. So I was like, wait a minute, I got something here. I'm resonating with people. And that's where it began.
All right. And this last year, you focused on pizza. How did that all come about?
Okay, so the food runs, I started at first, Foxito is a credibility brand. People know that I'm influenced myself by nothing. I go, I give an honest review, right? So people trust me. So I built it up with the burger run, the wing run, the taco run was huge, the beef run was crazy. So I know pizza's a hot topic. So I built it up, the anticipation. So when we got to pizza, then it took off. You know, the conversations are heated in the comments as to who's really the best. Very, very, very controversial in Chicago.
Okay, you sound like to me you have a New York accent.
For sure.
Okay, and just by chance, one of your favorite pizza restaurants, because that's what I'm going to ask you about, has a New York-style pizza.
Correct.
I don't know if I can believe you on this.
No, because there's a lot of New York pizza in town.
I don't know that I can believe that's the best. That's where I'm going with
Oh, that's where you're going? Yeah, I'm going to tell you they're the best.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you it's a humble family. They're actually from
what's
Italy.
the name of the pizza?
Lucia.
Okay.
Lucia Pizza got the award for #1 New York style in the city. They're passionate. Like I said, mom and dad is in the kitchen. The kids are in the kitchen. But they really put together a superior product. And I wasn't being biased at all.
So this wasn't, to clarify, this wasn't the best pizza in Chicago. This was the best New York style.
Correct.
Okay,
correct.
I just want to put that out there.
So what I did, instead of compiling a top 5, a top 10 list, I did it by category so everybody could shine.
I love that.
You know?
Okay, I want to know, what was your favorite tavern style? Do you remember?
Of course.
Yes.
Gio's on Harlem got the overall. But there's plenty. On the south side, you have Vito and Nick's.
Vito and Nick's, the OG.
105 years in business.
Yes.
An amazing product. On the north side, we crowned J.B. Alberto's.
Oh, I haven't
Tremendous pizza. Tremendous pizza. So, yeah. You know, and then we had a specialty category, which went to Durango's, which is a pizzeria taqueria. So it's a Mexican family in there. And that pizza's phenomenal. And I was sleeping on it.
Wait, what's the name of it again?
Durango's.
Okay,
You got to check that out.
Yeah, I know, I do.
Yeah.
What comes next then?
All right, what's next for me? Well, here's the thing. So I hit 70 places, but there's over 2,000 restaurants in Chicago serving pizza. So we got a long way to go. But what's next for me is I'm going to take it national. We're going to go on the road. We're going to hit L.A. We're going to hit New York. And then, you know, we're going to tie it all in and bring it back to Chicago.
Dave Portnoy, be careful, because
not even
is in town.
Yeah, not even be careful. I'm trying to get Dave Portnoy's attention. I have a business proposition for him to elevate his brand. So, Dave, holla at me.
Tell him right there. Tell him that.
Dave Portnoy, holla at me. I got something for you. Your guys in Chicago, they can vouch for me. They know me.
We all love our Foxitos. So nice to have you in person. I follow you on social, so nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
And I can't wait to see how your next adventure turns out, right?
Right, yeah.
Very Oh, by the way, JP Graziano, shout out. You're big fan.
Shout out JP Graziano.
Love them.
You know, the Drip Pack. If you followed the Pizza Run, you know what we were doing here. Shout out to them. Thank you for the support.
Best sandwich in Chicago. We'll be right back.
Here's
we heard tale of a party. This world already left you for dead. I can save you from your fate.
You don't need no saving.
Yes, you do.
And you are?
I am your way out. Don't cry. It's all better now.
History was made with this morning's Oscar nominations. Jake joins us now to break it all down for us.
That's right, some pretty massive Oscar history earlier today. So rather than go through a list of every single category, I want to talk about some of the big headlines that came out of this morning's nominations, the records, the snubs, the history that was made. And history does not get bigger than this. With 16 nominations, Ryan Coogler's vampire thriller Sinners has become the most nominated movie in Oscar history. 16 nominations for Sinners, an all-time record. It breaks the previous record of 14 held by movies like All About Eve, Titanic, and La La Land, and that includes nominations for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Michael B. Jordan, a pair of Supporting Actor nominations, and a ton of below-the-line technical nominations. Now, many people right now, including myself, do expect one battle after another to take home Best Picture, but it looks like Sinners could be making a surge. It would be the first horror film to win Best Picture since The Silence of the Lambs. Now, one of the best surprises of the morning actually comes courtesy of Sinners. That man in the middle right there, legendary actor Delroy Lindo, finally got his well-deserved first acting nomination for his performance in Sinners. Delroy nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and while he has been a well-respected and beloved actor for decades now, it took him a long time to finally get some Oscar love, and he did today. Here's a pretty shocking headline I didn't expect. The sequel, Wicked for Good, completely shut out of all Oscar nominations. After the first film landed 10, including Best Picture, the sequel, which was admittedly less liked than the first movie, ended up getting 0. Now, people didn't expect it to get 10 nominations again, but at least thought it would have landed makeup, costume, production design, maybe even supporting actress for Ariana Grande. But apparently the Academy thought the film was Wicked not so good. Now, here's a name I didn't expect to hear listed off this morning. That guy right there, Brad Pitt. Now, the racing thriller F1 was nominated for Best Picture, and since Pitt is a producer on the film, that means he's nominated. But that's actually not the first time it's happened for him. Brad Pitt actually won his first Oscar, not as an actor, but as a producer, when 12 Years a Slave won Best Picture. One person making his own history this morning, actor Timothée Chalamet. With his movie Marty Supreme landing Best Picture nominations, Chalamet joins an elite group of actors who have starred in 8 different Best Picture nominees. Now, that list of actors includes people like Gregory Peck, Harrison Ford, Daniel Day-Lewis, Meryl Streep, Elizabeth Taylor. Also, since Chalamet was also nominated for Best Actor, he becomes the youngest actor to land 3 Best Actor nominations since Marlon Brando. That's pretty good company. Now, those are the big headlines out of this year's Oscar nominations. Let me know how you feel about them. Follow me on Instagram @Jake's Takes. Back over to you.
All right, thanks for that, Jake. Coming up, a new study finds Gen Z is losing their accent. That's according to researchers at University of Georgia. We'll be back with that story and more coming up after this. Welcome back. A new study finds Gen Z losing their accents. That's according to researchers at the University of Georgia who report a steady decline in the Southern drawl seen in each new generation. They say Gen Z is being taught what to like, who to follow, and what to wear from strangers on the internet. Language professors point to young adults who spend multiple hours on social media every day, saying that the phenomenon is turning everyone into digital copycats.
All right, interesting enough. Caitlin, I wish we could copy and paste. We're talking about copycats. The July forecast.
Something, anything.
Not this.
Yes.
I know it. Just think about summer.
Yeah.
In your mind as we drop tonight, especially into early tomorrow. Right now, though, it still feels like 2 in Woodstock. So it's cold, especially north of the city. 4 is what it feels like in Waukegan. Wind chill at the lakefront, 10 degrees. So it's chilly now, but we are going to get worse. The cold front swings through. We are dropping tonight below 0 with wind chills approaching 30 to 40 degrees below 0. And that is why we have an extreme cold warning in effect. 3 a.m. Friday until noon. During that time, there's an advisory in place for Northwest Indiana, but after that, we have an advisory for everyone, a cold weather advisory all the way through until Saturday morning, because even on Friday during the day, our high temperature could approach 0, but it's going to feel like even Friday afternoon around 20 degrees below 0. Heading into this weekend, we have the chance for snow returning Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and Sunday. The heaviest snowfall being late Saturday into Saturday night.